Very glad to meet with all of you again today
و منتظر شنیدن نقطه
and
نظرات
look
شما
forward to
هستم.
receiving your comments and views.
Thank you very much, President Ahmadinejad. Can you hear me?
بله.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. We have many, many questions, starting with this, which directly relates to your speech. How important do you think that the worldwide spread of Islam is to creating the sublime and beautiful world that you envision? And is there room for other religions?
ما فکر میکنیم همه مذاهب و مذاهب
We think that all religions and all divine religions have the same message. They all come from the same place.
اونها چند تا پیام روشن
They
دارن.
have several clear messages
دعوت انسانها به
to
خداپرستی
invite man to worship God,
که ریشه همه خوبی هاست.
which is the root of all goodness.
دعوت به عدالت
Invite man to justice,
که تضمین عشق و
which
دوستی و
guarantees
امنیت
love,
پایداره.
friendship, and viable security.
دعوت به احترام و
To
کرامت
invite
انسانی.
man to dignity and to respect of mankind.
دعوت به عشق به
To
یکدیگر.
invite man to love the rest of mankind.
این پیام ها در
These messages are
دین حضرت موسی
embedded in the religion
و
of
دین حضرت
Christ,
عیسی
of Moses
و حضرت عیسی
and Christ,
و همینطور حضرت محمد
as
رسول
well
الله
as
موج
the
میزنه.
Holy Prophet of Islam.
پیامبران همه پیام واحد داشتن.
These prophets have all given the same messages.
پیامبران با هم اختلافی
They
نداشتن.
never had differences in that
نزاعی
respect.
هم
There
نداشتن.
was never a conflict there
چون منشأ اونها یکیست.
because their root goes back to the same
پیام اونها هم
reality and their
یکیست.
message was the same as well.
اونها همه
Does that
زیبایی
mean
و
there is
They
room for
all
Christianity
believe in
and
beauty and
all that
goodness.
you're describing?
در جهانی که شما وصف
همه با هم برادرن.
They're all brothers.
همه یک چیز میخوان.
They all want the same thing.
عدالت و دوستی.
Justice and friendship.
و این مشترک همه
And
مذاهب.
this is the common ground for all religions.
Yes, but
True
do those
pious people
religions
have
have
no
a place in the
differences
world you
with
describe?
each other. آیا در اون
همه انسانند و محترم.
They're all human beings and followers of different religions, and all their views should be respected.
همه باید جامعه سعادتمند رو بسازیم
We should all build a prosperous community together,
و دست به دست هم بدیم.
and we must all move hand in hand.
این مسئولیت همگانی است.
This is a responsibility for all.
We have many questions regarding the Baha'i religious minority in Iran. Many of our questioners say that the Baha'i minority has been deprived of their human rights. What would your response be to that?
در قانون اساسی
In
ما
our constitution,
مسیحیت،
Christianity,
موسویت و یهودیت
Judaism,
و اسلام و زرتشتی به عنوان
Islam, and Zoroastrianism are recognized as the official religions. When we speak of religion, we refer to divine religions. In our country, we follow that law, a law that is based on the majority vote of the people.
The 2007 Amnesty International report on Iran said the following: freedom of expression and association were increasingly curtailed. Internet access was increasingly restricted and monitored. Journalists and bloggers were detained and sentenced to prison or flogging. And at least 11 newspapers were closed. Why?
من فکر می‌کنم کسانی که این
I
گزارش
think people who prepared the report are unaware of the situation in Iran.
کشور ما قانون حاکمه.
In our country, law prevails.
آزادی در بالاترین حد
Freedom is flowing at its highest level.
شما می‌دونید روزنامه
You know that the newspaper that also,
روزنامه دولت به دلیل تخلف
you
قانون
know that a government newspaper was actually shut down because it engage in illegal acts.
شاید روزنامه‌ای که دیدگاه‌های رئیس
Uh,
دولت رو منتشر
A newspaper that was reflecting the views of the head of the state,
اما چون توهین کرد
but because it insulted a figure
و حقوق مردم رو نادیده گرفت
and disrespected the rights
بسته شد.
of the people by insulting a group at
البته
least, it
می‌دونید
was
ما
shut
الان
down.
روزانه
You
ده‌ها
know
روزنامه
that on
در
a daily
کشورمون
basis we have tens, many newspapers, or dozens of newspapers in our country. And the number of those newspapers that are against the government in place right now are perhaps 10 times larger than the newspapers that are pro-government.
در کشور ما ده‌ها
In
میلیون
our
نفر به
country, there are
شبکه‌ها
tens of
ارتباط
millions
دارن
of
و
people who are
دسترسی دارن.
connected to the internet. They have access to it.
اگه منظور شما سایت‌های
So
غیر
if you're
اخلاقی است،
talking about immoral, like access perhaps to immoral sites,
شما هم قبول
well,
دارید
you
که
would
اون
agree with me that
سایت‌ها مضر به حال جامعه هستند.
those sites are harmful
کسی حق
for
نداره از اونها
society.
دفاع بکنه.
Nobody can really allow access to those.
ولی مردم ما آزادترین و آگاهترین
But our
مردم
people
جهان
are the freest people in the world, the most aware people in the world, the most enlightened, so to
کسی که این
say.
گزارش رو
Let's
تهیه
say.
کرده،
So
اگر
the
در
person who
خیابان‌های
prepared this
تهران
report, I would
یا
say,
شهرهای
had he
ایران
had the
حرکت
chance
می‌کرد،
to walk in Iran, in Tehran, in other cities, and visit them
و
in
با
Iran,
مردم ملاقات
and to really
می‌کرد،
sit down with people and speak with them,
متوجه می‌شد که مردم
would
ایران
have
بسیار
understood that
آزاد و
people in Iran are
بانشاتند
very joyous, happy people and very free,
و از همه تحولات دنیا به طور
and
لحظه‌ای
very
مطلع.
much aware of all world developments on as it continues on every minute, every second.
و در اظهار نظرشون هم بسیار آزادند.
And they're very free in expressing what they think.
شما دیدید سال گذشته در
Last
دانشگاه
year in the university,
یک اقلیت 100 نفره
a minority group of 100 people
در برابر بیش از 2000
stood
نفر
against over 2,000 people,
از دانشجویانی که طرفدار رئیس جمهور بودند
students who supported the president,
فریاد زدند و سعی کردند جلسه رو به هم بزنند.
they were screaming and they tried to disrupt the session.
هیچ کس با آنها کاری نداشت.
They were left alone.
و رئیس جمهور 2 ساعت با
And the
آرامش
president
نشست و
sat down
حرفای
for
اونها
2 hours and listened to all of them.
و اونها همین الان هم آزادند.
And right now they're free. They're walking freely.
من فکر می‌کنم اون کسانی
I
که
think
اطلاع
the
رسانی
people
می‌کنند
who give this information
و اطلاعات درست کسب بکنند.
should seek what is the truth and sort of
من
disseminate what's
از همه
correct.
کسانی که در این جلسه
So
حضور
I
دارند
invite
دعوت
everyone
می‌کنم
present
بیان
in
ایران
this
رو
meeting
ببینند.
to come and visit Iran for
آزادانه
themselves,
بیان همه جای
to
ایران
come
رو ببینند.
freely and visit the country all over,
و با مردم گفتگو
to
کنند.
speak with the people there.
اون وقت
Then
دیدگاهشون عوض خواهد شد.
their point of view will change.
Two of the journalists that have been arrested in Iran have been sentenced to death simply for doing their jobs. Mr. President, can you give us your word that you will do everything in your power to keep this sentence from being carried out?
این خبر شما از اساس خبر اشتباهی است. چنین
This
چیزی ما
news
در
is
ایران نداریم.
fundamentally wrong. This is
اصلا ما چنین
incorrect.
چیزی در ایران نداریم.
This is not correct at all about Iran.
کدوم
What's happening?
خبرنگار محکوم به
Which
مرگ
journalist has been sentenced to death?
من متاسفم که
I'm
بعضی
sorry
رسانه‌های اخبار
that
دروغ
some
منتشر
press here disseminates what's untrue.
چه اصراری هست که اخبار
Why
دروغ
should we
منتشر
insist on propagating what's untrue?
این با مسئولیت رسانه فاصله
This
داره.
report comes from
Goes away
Reporters
from the
Without
responsibility
Borders.
of the press. این در واقع
خب چنین خبری وجود
Well,
نداره.
this
کی
is
هست؟
incorrect. Who are these
مشخصات رو به
people?
من
Can you
بده
let me know
لااقل
who they
بنده هم
are so that
مطلع
at least
باشم.
I can be aware of who they are too?
I will certainly do that. Moving on. Iranian women are
I would be certainly grateful.
Right.
That would be very helpful to me.
Okay, I've just been handed a report from Reporters Without Borders, and it names the names Adnan Hassanpour and, forgive me, this is a little difficult, Abdul Vahed Hiva Botimar.
اینا کجا کار خبری میکردن و کجا دستگیر
Where
شدن؟
were they involved in as a journalist and where were they arrested?
چنین اشخاصی رو نمیشناسم.
I don't know people by that name.
من فکر می‌کنم
I
اطلاعات
think
غلط
that
بهتون رسیده.
what you received was incorrect information.
بعد کانال ارتباطیتون رو تصحیح
You
کنید.
have to sort of rectify the information
همین
channel you
امروز
have.
روزانه بیش از 30
On a daily
روزنامه
basis, over 30
تمام
newspapers
صفحاتشون
currently
رو از توهین به
are
رئیس جمهور
filled
و انتقاد
with
به رئیس جمهور پر می‌کنن.
pages and pages of basically criticizing the president and the administration in Iran, and even sometimes insulting our policies and what we do.
بدونید همه نویسندگان و روزنامه‌نگاران
All
از
the
کمک‌های
journalists and
بلاعوض دولت
newspapers
برخوردارند.
also receive the loans from the government. Actually, not loans, but grants from the government.
Okay, I think we should move on from that question to the following.